Hey, welcome back, everybody. And it's Monday, so we're going to be doing another Freight Broker Bootcamp Live. Thank you for joining me. Today, the topic that I'm going to cover is if you aren't getting enough sales, I'm going to break down and tell you two key reasons why and what you can do to fix that issue. So if you're a freight broker or a freight agent and you don't think you're getting enough sales, maybe you're a startup and you're waiting to get your first few customers, or maybe you've already got your first few customers, but you're not growing, you definitely want to tune in. Okay. So that's the topic we're going to cover today in the live. But before we do that, I invited people on here early because I'm going to be doing some giveaways. I've been doing some giveaways before the trainings, and I'm trying to do it before the training so that we can dive right into the trainings right at or about noon. So we've got a little bit of time here. So for those of you that are just joining me live right now early and are interested in winning some cash or prizes, let me know where you're logging in from in the chat box. Give me a quick shout out, and we're going to do a couple of quick giveaways. So hit me up in the chat box and let me know that you are here. I know we just went live. So again, that's the topic we're going to cover today. We're going to talk about if you aren't getting enough sales, I'm going to tell you exactly why and how to fix it. Okay. So that's what we're going to cover. But before we do that, we're going to do some giveaways. We're going to give away a little cash. Maybe we'll give away a t-shirt or two, whatever we have time for. We don't have a ton of time, but yeah, we're definitely going to do that. So welcome. We got a bunch of people joining live. Awesome. Okay, cool. Welcome, Monique. Welcome, Igor from Chicago. Welcome, Circle Century Logistics from Indiana. Jeremy from St. Louis. Welcome, everybody. I'm not going to be able to do shout outs to everybody because I do want to dive into the giveaway. So listen closely. If you're not aware, about a month or so ago, I launched the Freight Broker Bootcamp Audio Experience podcast. It's an audio only platform that allows you to listen to the best of the best of the best content that I have, that I've created over the last decade in audio format. So if you're a truck driver and you're always driving your truck and you're able to listen to a podcast, this is perfect for you. If you're walking the dog, or you're working out, or you're walking on the treadmill, or you're just chilling and you don't have access to a computer and you're not able to get good video, or you just like audio, this is the channel for you. It's called a podcast. You can access it from literally any smart device, right? Any smartphone, iPhone, Android, whatever smartphone you have, you can access the podcast. And so I launched that about a month ago. The reviews have been amazing. And so today I want to focus the giveaways around the podcast. That's what I've been doing lately. So here's what you got to do. If you are an iPhone user, okay, if you are an iPhone user, here's what I want you to do. So pay attention. If you're an iPhone user, I want you to take out your iPhone right now. I want you to pull it out. I don't care what you're doing. Pull out your iPhone, and you need to find the podcast app. It's a purple app. If you don't know where it is, you can just search for it. Find the podcast app. And I want you to go in and search for Freight Broker Bootcamp. What you're going to see is you're going to see you're going to see something that says Freight Broker Bootcamp. Okay. So if you go in there and search Freight Broker Bootcamp, you're going to see something that looks, well, you probably won't be able to see it, but it looks kind of like that. Okay. You'll see my bald, shiny head. You'll see the Freight Broker Bootcamp logo. Go in there. And what I want you to do is I want you to hit subscribe to the podcast, and then rate and review the podcast. Once you do that, come back in, and in the comments, all I need you to do is to type in Apple subscribed, rated, and reviewed. Okay. Apple subscribed, rated, and reviewed. You have to put Apple. So you let me know that you actually subscribe through the Apple channel. And then I want you to rate and review. It'll take you all of 15 seconds to do this. So pull out your phone, your Apple phone right now. Go to Freight Broker Bootcamp in the podcast app. You go to podcast, go to search, and then type Freight Broker Bootcamp. You'll see the logo. Pull it up, hit the subscribe or follow button, and then rate and review it. Now you got to make sure that you do both. Okay. And this is an honor system, so I'm counting on you to do both. All right. If you do this, I'm going to give away $50 to one lucky winner. One winner right now that goes in and does what I just said, subscribes and then does a quick rate and review. I'm going to give away $50 to one lucky winner. Now, if you've already won, or you've already subscribed and rated and reviewed the podcast, if you're one of those, thank you so much for doing that. I'll do another giveaway for something else that, that'll allow you to win also. Okay. So you don't enroll in this unless you're just subscribing and rating and reviewing the podcast. Okay. So let me know right away. It's an extra $50 for free. All you got to do is it's going to take you literally 15 to 30 seconds to do it. So pull out your iPhone, find the Freight Broker Bootcamp podcast on your Apple podcast, app, and then go in and follow, subscribe, and then rate and review. It'll take you all of 15 to 30 seconds. Do that. And then I am going to do a giveaway for $50. And then everybody else who's not using an iPhone, I'm going to be doing a giveaway for you as well. So don't worry. I'm not going to leave you out. Hold tight, and I will share with you exactly how you can also qualify to potentially win $50 before we start the training. Again, at noon, we're going to start the training. So we've got about 9 more minutes. We don't have a lot of time. So hurry up, get in there. And I need you. I don't want to hear done. I want to hear Apple. You got to listen to my instructions. You have to come back in here and type Apple, subscribe, rate, and review. If you don't do that, I'm not going to include you in the drawing. Okay. You have to do that because I don't know what done means. Okay. Done doesn't help me. Done doesn't help me. Everybody's typing done. Done doesn't help me. If you don't do what I told you to do, like Tara Lynn did, okay? Tara Lynn Alexander knows how to follow instructions. If you didn't follow instructions, do it now because I'm not going to select you because if you can't follow instructions, I can't give you $50, okay? I can't even include you in there. So make sure you do that. And you've got about 15 to 30 seconds to do it before I do the first giveaway. And then I'm going to do another giveaway. So all you got to do is pull out your iPhone, search find the podcast app. It's automatically installed on your iPhone. You don't have to download it. Go to search, type in Freight Broker Bootcamp. You'll see the logo on my bald head. Subscribe, rate, and review, and then come back in and type it into the chat box and let me know. Okay, so we got a few people that have followed the instructions. Okay, that's good. All right, cool. All right, again, if you typed done and you don't type what I said, I'm not going to include you in the giveaway. I'm sorry. I'm a stickler about just follow instructions. Okay. You're here for a training today. So I'm going to give you some instructions on how to get more customers for your freight brokerage or freight agency. Part of that training starts now. And some of that is just following instructions. So please do that. And then we're going to do that giveaway. Here we go. Okay, cool. All right, so here we go, guys. I'm going to randomly scroll up through here. I'm going to close my eyes. I'm going to scroll through the feed, and I'm going to randomly pick one winner. And the winner is, didn't land on anybody that had subscribed. So I'm going to randomly hit a winner here, and the winner is Carter Boucher. However you pronounce it, you won, my friend. Carter, you won. So you won the Apple subscribe, rate, and review. You followed instructions. You rated and reviewed. Thank you so much. Hope you enjoyed the podcast. Make sure you check it out. I do 2 new episodes every single week, one on Monday, one on Thursdays. And these are the best of the best of the best trainings that I do in audio format. Okay. So here's all you got to do, Carter. Go to the Freight Broker Bootcamp page on Facebook. Okay. The Facebook page for Freight Broker Bootcamp. Message me. Just let me know your name, your email address, your PayPal email, because I'm going to PayPal you the $50 in the next 24 to 48 hours. I'm going to PayPal you the $50. And you got to let me know that you won the Apple subscribe, rate, and review contest for $50, and I will send that off to you. Okay. So that's all you have to do. Make sure I get that message. Otherwise, I can't send you the money. Okay. So you got to send me your PayPal email, and then I will send you the $50. Congratulations, Carter, for winning the first giveaway. Okay. Now, for those of you that are not on Apple, if you're using an Android phone, there's 2 ways that you can win. Here's what I want you to do. If you are, or if you're on Apple, okay, here's what I want you to do, because I've only got time for this giveaway. If you're on an Android phone, pull up Spotify or Google Podcasts, one of the two, okay? You can pull up Spotify or Google Podcasts. If you listen to music on Spotify, which many of you probably do, you can also listen to podcasts there. What I want you to do is to follow or subscribe to the podcast on Spotify or on Google Podcasts, and then come back in here and let me know that you subscribed on Google or on Spotify. You got to let me know. Subscribe Google, subscribe Spotify, wherever it is, and then that's going to qualify you for another $50 giveaway, okay? And I'm going to also include the people that are on Apple. If you've already subscribed and rated review, there's a small audience that's already done that. What I want you to do is I want you to share the podcast, share your Apple podcast online, share it on Facebook or share it on Twitter or share it somewhere. Do a share, and you can come back in here and also type shared Apple podcast. That'll also qualify you for this $50 giveaway. So it's kind of a two-part giveaway. If you subscribe on Spotify or you subscribe on Google, then you qualify for this $50 giveaway. If you are already subscribed and you, whether that be on Google or Spotify or Apple, you can just share the podcast on social, right? So go into one of the podcast episodes, share it on social, whether that be on Facebook or Twitter or LinkedIn or wherever you want to share it. And then come back in here and type in the comments below. Let me know that you subscribed or shared or whatever the case may be. And I will include you in the giveaway for $50. All right. Jack, you're all right. Yeah, you're good. If you follow the instructions and if you've already subscribed, then just share it, and you can qualify for the $50. Okay. Awesome. Subscribed Apple and Spotify. Way to go. Subscribed on Spotify. CJ, welcome. Subscribed on Google Podcasts. Marie, thank you. How much time do we have? Ooh, we got just a couple minutes. Okay. So we're not doing bad. I'm going to give you about one more minute. To subscribe on Spotify, Google, or to share the podcast on Spotify, Google, or, through Spotify, Google, or Apple. Share it on social media, whether it be on Facebook or Twitter or Pinterest or LinkedIn or wherever you want to share it. But those are the two things that you need to do in order to qualify for this $50 giveaway. And then we're going to dive into the training. And again, for those of you that are joining me live today, I'm going to share with you, if your sales are not growing, if you're not getting enough sales, I'm going to explain to you exactly why. I'm going to go through the entire process of why you're not getting sales. And I'm going to try to help you correct that problem so that you can grow a highly profitable freight broker or freight agency business. Okay, cool. All right, here we go. Giveaway. All right, so we're going to give away for the Google, Spotify, and share right now, okay? All right, so where are we at? Okay, cool. So here we go. I'm going to scroll down through randomly, close my eyes, and I'm going to put my mouse pointed to, can't read it. Oh, sorry. I hit somebody who did not actually follow or subscribe. So here we go. Scroll down. Here we go. Oops, wrong area. Boom. All right, here we go. Ready? 1, 2, 3. All right, the winner is Cynthia Moore. Cynthia is subscribed on Apple. I'm sorry, Cynthia, this is not a subscribe giveaway. I'm sorry, I apologize. This is not a subscribe giveaway. This second giveaway is for subscribing on Spotify, Google, or sharing on Apple. Okay, I'm sorry. There's not much I can do about that. I'm sorry. I got to play by the rules. Okay, so let me scroll through. Boom. And here is the winner. The winner of this subscribe on Spotify, Google, or the share is Hisel Quinones. Quinones. I'm sorry. Hisel Quinones. You are the winner of the subscribe on Spotify giveaway for the Freight Broker Bootcamp podcast. All I need to do, go to Freight Broker Bootcamp Facebook page, message me your name, that you won the subscribe on Spotify $50 prize, and make sure you include your PayPal email, and I will send you that $50. Okay, so that's all you got to do. Go to the Freight Broker Bootcamp Facebook page, message me that you won, and I will send you the $50, but you got to send me your PayPal email. Okay, good. All right, so we're right on time, guys. So we thank you so much for playing along. Thank you, everybody who subscribed and listens to the podcast. I love podcasting as a listener and as a producer and creator of podcasts. I hope you guys also enjoy it. Got a lot of great feedback. I love to hear any of your feedback. If you rate and review, write me a quick review. Maybe I'll be able to give you a shout out on a future episode. Thank you again for playing along. Today, for those of you that are just joining me live for the live training that we do every Monday at noon, I am going to be talking about, if you are not getting enough sales, I'm going to tell you exactly why as a freight broker or freight agency. So that's what we're going to dive into today. Thank you, everybody, for joining me. I'm going to give another minute here for everybody who's just joining me live now, because again, it's just noon right now. hit me up. If you're just joining me live right now, hit me up in the comments with your the city and state you're logging in from. Hit me up in the comments with the city and state you're logging in from. I'd love to hear from you. And then we are going to do the training. Okay. We're going to do a live training. I didn't grab a drink today, which is weird. I usually have a bottle of water here. So that's a bummer. But all right, cool. So what do we got? Welcome, CJ. Welcome, Amerifreight. Welcome, Jack Rich. Congrats on 27. I wish I was 27. 27th freight agent. Oh, congrats, American Freight Enterprise. Congrats. Thank you. I thought you were saying congrats on being 27. I'm like, wow, I wish I was 27. Unfortunately, I'm almost double that, which is scary. All right. Welcome, Light Sharp from Oakland. Welcome, Samhar from Denver. Welcome, Sean from Sulphur Springs, Texas. Welcome, Jack from Cleveland. Welcome, Lolita from Greensboro, North Carolina. Welcome, Chad from Little Rock, Arkansas. Okay, so let's dive into the training, guys. I know you guys are busy, and if for some reason someone's joining us late, they can catch us on replay. Again, you can also go to my YouTube channel. Just go on to YouTube, type Freight Broker Bootcamp. You'll see my big bald head, and you can subscribe to that channel because I do an edited, shorter version of this on my YouTube channel, and I release new trainings every single week on that channel. You'll get notified. It's a great way. I have over 100 free freight broker training videos on that channel covering almost every topic you can imagine. Okay. So if for some reason you're not able to make it live here, catch it on replay, or you can go to the YouTube channel, subscribe, hit the bell to make sure you get notified. All right. So today I'm going to talk to you about where some freight brokers and freight agents struggle, and that is they're not getting enough sales. And today I'm going to explain to you why. And there are two really important things that you need to understand about selling, right? And I don't care what you're selling, but in this case, we're talking about freight brokerage or freight agency services, okay? So the important thing you have to understand, the reason why you're not getting enough sales is because of your sales pipeline. You have a weak sales pipeline. Now, what do I mean by a pipeline? So the pipeline is kind of like that funnel you think about where you put a whole bunch of input at the top and it's real wide. And then at the bottom, it's much more narrow and customers fall out. So let's say you put 1,000 prospects in and a much smaller number of customers come out. Let's say it's 10 or 20 or 50 customers come out of that funnel, right? Or pipeline, as you can call it, right? A lot of people call it a sales pipeline. So the biggest reason why you're not getting enough sales is because of you have a weak sales pipeline. Now, your pipeline is comprised of two key elements, right? Two key elements determine your pipeline. One is the quality of your pipeline, and the other is the quantity in your pipeline. So I want you to think about those two elements. These are the important things you need to understand today. Quantity and quality. First, we're going to start with quality, right? So both of these are very important. It's like a marriage, and it's a balance, and it's a yin and yang, okay? You can't have just quantity without quality, and you can't just have quality without quantity. So it's really a balancing act that you need to learn how to juggle in order to have an effective pipeline, which is what will ultimately determine your success in building a highly successful freight broker or freight agency business. Okay, so let's talk about quality to start. What I mean by quality, this is more qualitative. It means, for example, your sales skills. How good are your sales skills? Do you have a strong or a good sales hook as a part of your cold outreach, as a part of your sales call, right? So that's qualitative, right? Do you ask good questions? Do you understand how to overcome common objections, right? Do you have a positive mental attitude, right? So those are qualitative things that you need to measure and understand. And there's a whole bunch of other components to that. But it's really on a qualitative perspective, it revolves very heavily around skills. Do you have the skills and the understanding to create a quality engagement, which will bring in quality prospects. Okay. So that's a qualitative measure. Again, like I said, do you have a good sales hook? Do you ask really good and compelling questions? Are you a good listener? Right. So those are things that you have to understand from a skills perspective. Right. So that's qualitative. Now, quantitative is the other side of the coin. So quantity. What is the quantity of prospects? Because again, if you just put 3 prospects into that funnel, you can't expect a customer to come out of it, right? But if you put 3,000 prospects into that funnel, you're going to start seeing customers come out. Now, if you put 3,000 prospects without any quality, it's going to be a much smaller number than 3,000 prospects with high quality, right? So let's talk about quantity, right? So a couple of things you might want to consider from a quality perspective. Are you prospecting daily? Are you prospecting every day? Are you doing outreach to at least 50, 100, 150 people per day? Now, some people are going to do 50, some people are going to do 100, and some people are going to do 150. Ultimately, what you have to understand, what you lack in quality, what you lack in experience, you usually have to make up for in numbers. So this is where quantity can help balance your quality, right? So as you're developing your skills, as your skills get better, you won't have to make as many calls to get customers. But when your skills are not quite as good, you'll probably have to make a few more calls. So are you doing prospecting calls daily? Okay, that's number one, right? Number two, are you following up with your prospects, the people that you do have conversations with daily? Are you following up with at least 10 or 20 or 30 prospects every single day and trying to move them down that funnel so that they can eventually become a customer? Because the fact is, not very few customers are going to become a customer on just one phone call. You might have to have 3 or 5 or 8 or 10 different conversations via email, via phone, or a combination of the two, even face-to-face sometimes, before that person becomes a customer, where they start giving you orders and you start servicing them and they start generating you profit. Okay. So are you following up? That's another variable that you want to think about from a quantity perspective, right? Um, uh, are you doing freight quotes daily? That's another one you want to consider. Are you providing quotes to prospects every day? Are you doing at least 1 to 3 to 5 to 10 freight quotes per day for your prospects and for your existing customers? If you're not doing freight quotes, here's what I can tell you. It's going to be impossible for you to get shippers, because until you start discussing rates and service levels and capacity and those sorts of things, nothing good can happen, right? They can't hire you unless they know what you can provide, what value you can provide. And that usually is one of the parts of a freight quote. Okay, that's an important part of doing a freight quote for a shipper. So, and then the last thing is I want you to think about is this. If you are a startup, right? If you're a startup, 90% of your time needs to be spent prospecting and following up, right? Prospecting and following up. So you're going to be prospecting new prospects and following up with existing prospects. That's where most of your time should be spent. 90+% of your time should be spent there. 10% of your time should be spent doing research and freight quotes, right? In and around quotes that you're going to be providing for all your prospects. Okay. So what I want you to understand, again, from a quantitative perspective, from a quantity perspective, I don't mean to confuse you. Are you prospecting daily? Are you following up daily? Are you providing freight quotes daily? And are you doing it consistently? Okay. So those are the two big things you need to understand as a part of your sales pipeline. If you have a weak sales pipeline, you're typically not going to be generating enough sales. So you need to control those two big variables. One is quality. We talked about the quality components, and one is quantity. Now, if you learn to balance those things and build a strong sales pipeline, like I've talked about, right? Here's what's going to happen. The good news is, let's say, for example, your goal is to generate $10,000 a month in profit, right? Profit that would go in your pocket, not revenue, but profit, actual profit, whether that be as typically, and these numbers I'm going to give you are as a freight broker. So if you're a freight agent, you need to adjust it a little bit based on your commission. Okay. So as a freight broker, if you're looking to make $10,000 a month in profit, let's think about it. If you took an average profit of $150 a load, which is very reasonable. Okay. It probably will be higher on an average basis, but let's say it's 150. So assume it's $150 to $200, right? Roughly. So if you're doing $150 profit per load and you want to make $10,000 a month in commission, that's only 67 loads. So if you do 67 loads a month, you're going to be at $150 profit. You're going to be making $10,000 a month in profit. Now, 67 loads divided by about 21 work days in a month, you can see here that's just over 3 loads per day. That's not a lot. That's not a lot of loads, right? That's not even a full-time job, okay? It's really a part-time job. Now, if you're doing 67 loads a month, and let's say your average shipper, and this is going to be, I'm going to be very conservative on these numbers. Let's say your average shipper is only giving you 7 loads per month, right? 7 loads per month on average. That's going to be low, but let's say that's the case. If your average shipper is giving you 7 loads per month divided by 67 loads per month, you only need 10 shippers. You don't even need 10 shippers, really, because the math, but 10 shippers. Let's assume you need 10 shippers doing 7 loads a month at $150 profit per load. You're making over $10,000 a month. So the reason why I explain that math to you is because of what I want you to understand is in order to start making good money as a freight broker, freight agent, you don't need hundreds of customers. 10 customers doing 7 loads a month at $150 average, you're making $10,000 in profit per month. So that's what I wanted to explain to you. The key is if you're not getting the sales that you want to get, and you're not getting enough sales, look at your sales pipeline. And then take a look at that pipeline and see not only the quantity of prospects that are in your pipeline and that you're adding to that pipeline daily, weekly, monthly, but look at the quality of that pipeline. And the quality is something you need to look at internally, right? Look at, are you, do you have the skills that you need in order to be successful? Do you have a good sales hook when you're doing cold outreach by a phone or email? Are you doing a multi-channel outreach strategy? Do you understand how to overcome objections? Do you, do you understand the components of what makes up a sale? Do you know how to build relationships? Are you asking, again, good questions? Do you have a positive mental attitude, or are you approaching this like every sales call is you cutting off your pinky, right? So those are some of the things that I wanted to share with you today. Very important that you understand that if you're not getting enough sales, it's typically your sales pipeline. Your pipeline is comprised and made up of the quality and the quantity of the prospects in your pipeline. And the good news is, if you want to generate $10,000 a month, it's easy to back out the math. I shared with you how you really only need about 10 customers in order to start making that. And 10 customers is just not a lot. Now, here's the thing. Some people are going to get those 10 customers in the first few months. I've seen people that do it even faster and start making $10,000 a month that fast. Some people are going to take 6 months. Some people are going to take a year. And some people, guess what, are never going to do it. Some people are going to fail. But in most cases, it comes back down to either the quantity or the quality of their efforts. If they're not focusing on their skills, then they're probably going to fail. If they're not focusing on the quantity of prospects in their pipeline, they're probably going to fail. And in most cases, people will quit because they just can't break through. For whatever reason, they're afraid to fail and they just can't deal with it. So what I've done, guys, and here's the reason, part of the reason for the training today, I've put together a program called my Freight Broker Sales Accelerator. This is where I take that piece of my brain and I teach you exactly how to develop the skills that you need, but more importantly, the system that you need in order to have a strong sales pipeline, in order to get predictable customers so that you can grow a multi-6 or 7-figure freight brokerage. Now, that program it's a combination of an online training program and a coaching program where I actually coach you for 5 weeks as a part of the program. And that program is going to be launching. I'm hoping to launch it here in November. So if you want to be a part of that program and you want to be notified when that program releases, here's what I need you to do. I need you to go to freightbrokerbootcamp.com/waitlist. That is called my Freight Broker Sales Accelerator. Now that program, I've run that program twice now. It's sold out 2 times, almost overnight, both times it's sold out. So the only way you'll have a chance to be a part of that program is if you actually get on the wait list. Now it's not a free program. I don't know exactly what I'm going to sell it for, but I can tell you whatever I offer it for, it's going to be worth 10 times whatever you pay for it. Okay. Whatever you invest. It's not a free program. So if you're a tire kicker or a whiner looking for a freebie, this is not for you. Don't bother getting on the wait list. But if you're serious about growing a highly profitable freight broker or freight agency business, what I want you to do is go to freightbrokerbootcamp/waitlist. You'll be able to enter and get on that wait list. I'll notify. You'll be the first to get notified when this program releases. And then at that point, you need to get enrolled immediately. And then that's when we're going to dive into the training. And I'm going to take that piece of my brain. I'm going to share it with you. I'm going to coach you and mentor you on exactly how I was able to do over $200 million as a freight broker and everything I've learned about selling freight brokerage or freight agency services. So if you guys enjoyed that, great, get on the wait list. For those of you that are just looking to get started as a freight broker or freight agent, and you're not quite ready for that, just check out freightbrokerbootcamp.com. I've trained over 10,000 students. That's the startup program where I teach new people to get up and running and start growing a profitable business. And you just go to freightbrokerbootcamp.com. We have a 60-day, 100% unconditional money back guarantee. Again, that's the startup program, freightbrokerbootcamp.com. Check that out. I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you did, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Have an awesome day, and I'll talk to you soon. Now, hang tight for me because we're going to do a little Q&A like we always do. Sorry about the abrupt ending there, but we are going to do some Q&A. So for those of you, I'm going to take this down in a second, but for those of you that are, how many of you are on or interested in the Freight Broker Sales Accelerator? Okay. Hit me up in the comments. Let me know if you're on the wait list or you're interested in the Freight Broker Sales Accelerator. And then we're going to do some Q&A. Okay. I'll dive into some Q&A for you. Cool. All right. So Paradise, Islam, Melody. All right. All right, here we go. Yeah. All right. We got Debbie, we got Lisette, we got Kemak, Anna, Jim, Ren, CJ, Renee, Chad, Cody. Good. All right. Make sure you get on that list. All right. Because I'm going to tell you right now, you're not going to get a chance to get enrolled in the program because I'm going to limit the number of people. I typically limit it, depending upon my time, I limit it to 50. Maybe I'll extend it to 100 total people. But once it's closed out, it's closed and you can't get enrolled. Now, I'll probably reopen it next year, but that could be 6 months from now, depending upon my schedule. So if you're serious about growing a successful freight broker, freight agency business, I promise you, the Freight Broker Sales Accelerator program is the absolute best program I've ever put together in my entire career. I wish I had this 20 years ago, almost 20 years ago when I started my freight brokerage. I can't imagine what the results would have been had I had this program in place, had I had this knowledge. So I hope you guys get on the wait list. And I look forward to working with whichever of you does get, enrolled in the program. Okay. Again, it's not a free program. Okay. This is a program where when I tell you I've put well over 100 hours into just creating the program, 100+ hours of my time creating this program. That's not counting the 20+ years of time and energy and experience that it took me to gain that knowledge. So if you want to fold time and you want to save yourself 20 years of mistakes and 20 years of lessons, right? And you want to expedite that process, get on the wait list and be a part of that program. That's all I can say. All right. So let's jump into some Q&A and then I'm going hunting. So hope that doesn't offend anybody, but if it does, I'm sorry. Sorry, not sorry, actually, because hunting is one of my passions. So I'm going to be going hunting here this afternoon. So we are going to do some Q&A. We'll do a short Q&A, and then I'm going to take off, and I will see you next Monday at noon. All right. So type your questions in the chat box, and I will try to do my best to answer. All right. Okay. So Debbie, I'm not good on the phone for sales. So I've been sending a lot of faxes and emails, but I'm not getting any responses. Can you tell me why? Yes. It's one of those two things. I just gave you the two variables. One is quantity. You said you're sending a lot. A lot is subjective to you. A lot might be 3 or 5 or 10 a day. That's not a lot. So quantity is going to be important, not only on the outreach, but the follow-up. And then quality. You might have a quality issue. What is the message saying? Do you sound like everybody else? Is it compelling? Do you have a strong sales hook? Right? Those are some of the variables that you need to consider. Probably if you are sending a lot, let's say you're doing 50 to 100 email outreaches a day. Say you're using email, right? Which is one way to do it. What you got to understand is that email open rates are typically fairly small. So if you send out 50 a day and you get a 20% open rate, that means only 10 people a day are actually reading your email, right? So 10 people a day. Now, out of those 10, you're trying to get a response. I get it. So at that point, you need to focus in on the quality. Do you have a strong sales hook, right? Do you have a good hook to get their interest? Because the hardest part about a sales call or a sales email, a cold email, is getting their attention, right? They're very busy. They don't have time. They're not going to read a big, long email because they have no time for that. And do you have a compelling sales hook? That's a big part of what I teach in the Freight Broker Sales Accelerator. I teach you how to create a sales hook that allows you to get their attention in the first 5 to 15 seconds of a phone call or an email, right? Where you can start a dialogue and then you can start migrating through the process. But the hardest part is getting their attention. So I would work on your sales hook. I think that's really the key. So for you, just based on my limited knowledge, it sounds more like a quality issue than a quantity issue, but it could be a combination of the two. So I hope that helps. You get on the list. It's easy. Just go to freightbrokerbootcamp.com/waitlist. Okay. For those of you that want to get on the wait list, all you got to do is go to freightbrokerbootcamp.com/waitlist. Here it is. That will get you on the list for the Freight Broker Sales Accelerator. Now, that doesn't guarantee you a spot. It just guarantees you they're going to get notified when I do release it. I don't know when I'm going to release it. I'm working on the middle of these projects. I'm in the middle of hunting season. I got a lot going on. So my goal is to get it launched in November. I wanted to get it launched a little earlier, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen the first week. Hopefully, maybe the second or third week I'll launch it, but you will be the first to be notified if you're on the wait list. If you're not, you won't get notified. Everybody will get enrolled and you'll miss the whole program. Okay. Hope that helps. All right. Okay, so here's a question. I never sample melodies. In the current market, should brokers be wary of a high load to freight ratio when trying to niche in a specific area for outbound freight? And please share any other general info on load to truck ratio. Okay, so what you have to understand, first of all, what I love about what you're saying is you're figuring out what is your niche. There's a variety of ways to do your niche, right? If you're curious about getting more information about finding your freight broker niche, go to freightbrokerbootcamp.com/blog and type in the search bar niche, and it'll pull up an entire article and a video where we talk about the freight broker niche. You can go there for that if you're curious about how to find your niche. But let's assume you're working on finding your niche and you're using geography as one of the key components. So say, for example, Buffalo outbound for loads, right? You're doing Buffalo outbound flatbed loads, right? So let's say that's the niche, right? We'll just use an example. So load to truck ratio is when you go into the load boards, the DAT, or you go into the DAT or the truck stop or any load board, and you look at the number of loads that are available. Let's say that's 100 in comparison to the number of trucks that are available. Let's say it's 10. Okay. That's going to be challenging because you've got a 10-to-1 ratio of loads to trucks. Now, let's reverse it. Let's say, for example, you have 100 trucks to 10 loads. Okay. Now those trucks are going to be competing for that. So it's going to be a lot easier to cover a lane where, let's say, and every lane is going to be different. So let's say the load to truck ratio is going to be different for Buffalo to Atlanta than it will be for Buffalo to LA, than it will be for Buffalo to Boston, right? So those lanes, the load to truck ratio is going to be different for all of those lanes. So you need to take a look at that as a part of your research. It's very simple. It's all built right into the load board. But if you have a high number of loads to a low number of trucks, what you have to understand is that's going to drive price up because those loads are going to be competing for those trucks. So that's going to increase the price. It's not to say that you shouldn't go after those lanes. It's two things. Number one, you need to take that into consideration with your price. And number two, you want to give yourself more time to cover that load. So if you had 100 trucks to 10 loads, you could post that load and cover it in an hour. But if you've got 100 loads to 10 trucks, you are probably going to want at least a 2 or 3 day lead time in order to be able to cover that. So you wouldn't be able to fulfill a same day load or maybe even a next day load with the shipper. You may let them know you need a few extra days to build in a little bit more time for you to cover that load when you have a high number of loads to a low number of trucks. In reverse, if you have a high number of trucks to a low number of loads, then it's going to be very easy to cover that lane. That's how I first started. I did New England outbound, Mass, Connecticut, Rhode Island, New Hampshire, New York, PA outbound. There was always more trucks than there was loads back then. And so I knew that if I found a truck, that I was going to be able to cover the load. The challenge is that when there's more trucks than there are loads, it drives the price down, right? Because the trucks are all competing for the loads. So the shippers have the upper hand in that situation. So I don't want to confuse you, but yes, you want to take the load to truck ratio into consideration. Consider that not only in the price, but also consider that in the lead time that you need in order to cover that load. So that should help you out a little bit. Hope it does. All right. So what does CWT mean? I looked at Google and it means 100 pounds. What is it? Okay. CWT is 100 weight. So there's different ways that freight is quoted. So sometimes it's quoted by the mile. Sometimes it's quoted by a piece count. And sometimes it's quoted by what's called a hundredweight. Okay. So I would search on Google for CWT rating formula, right? You'll find somewhere on Google. I should probably put it on the boot camp. I should probably put a blog post together, but I don't think I have anything on hundredweight. So hundredweight is where there's a rate per hundredweight on the load. So so for example, if you have a 20,000 pound load, okay, if you have a 20,000 pound load and you divide that by 100, that's a 200 hundredweight. And if your rate on that hundredweight is, say, for example, $2 per hundredweight, right? That would mean the load would go for 200 times 2, right? Which is $400. So that would be an example of a hundredweight rate. Some freight is rated hundredweight. So all you need to do is figure out the formula for hundredweight, which is what I just explained to you. You need the weight of the load divided by 100 based upon that rate. So you're still going to reverse it out the same way. You're still going to have to figure out what is the cost of a truck from point A to point B. And then based on that cost, you're going to be able to reverse it in to the hundredweight based on a full truck. And a full truck is typically 40,000 pounds. Okay. And then from there, if you're going to do smaller than hundredweight full trucks, then you're going to have to adjust the rate from there. But I hope that helps a little bit, shed a little bit of light. Maybe it's something I'll do a training on in the future, which is, hundredweight rating or something like that. Hope that helps. Thanks, Val. Good question. So Light Sharp has a question. How many cold calls should a startup target weekly? Well, it's a subjective question because again, you've got quality over quantity, right? I had sales experience coming into the industry. And I've always been that guy who's never need to make as many phone calls to get a shipper as other people. So where some people may need to make this number of calls in order to get a customer, I was always able to make less calls to produce the same amount. So I'll give you a range. I can't give you an exact number because it's very subjective. But on a minimum level, you should be doing at least 50 calls or outreaches per day. That's minimal. That's very minimal. If you're not going to do at least that, don't even bother starting your business as a broker or an agent. Most successful startups do 100 to 200 a day. Okay. I know Yogi is a big fan of high volume cold calling outreach. He's done extremely well with it. He's one of my past students. I don't know his exact numbers, but I think in 2022, I think he'll do over $10 million in sales, right? So he would probably agree with the 100 to 200 or more cold calls per day, every day, Monday through Friday. So you can do the math on that. But on a minimum level, I'd say 50, ideally somewhere between 100 and 200, depending upon whether they're all phone calls, whether they're emails. See, I teach in my Freight Broker Sales Accelerator, I teach a multi-touch point outreach strategy where you're not only using phone, but you're using email and you're using LinkedIn, and you can even use direct mail and face-to-face as a multi-touch point outreach strategy, which increases the conversion ratio. So you won't need as many phone calls because you're going to be able to make more contacts because not everybody picks up the phone or responds via the phone. So I hope that helps. Okay, so Megale asks, please explain a surety bond. Okay, so if you want to become a licensed freight broker with a freight broker authority from the FMCSA, part of the requirements is you have to have a $75,000 freight broker bond. Now, don't let that scare you because you don't need $75,000 and you don't need to be worth $75,000. Okay, a freight broker surety bond is kind of like an insurance product, but it's not insurance. It's a surety bond that guarantees payment. So you would go to a freight broker bonding company and you will give an application to them and they will run your credit. And based on that credit, they will determine what the cost of a surety bond will be, what your freight broker bond is going to cost. Now, if you have good credit, the bond might cost you $1,000 a year. If you have really bad credit, it might cost you $8,000 or $10,000 a year if you have really bad credit. Okay. So if you have really bad credit, I always suggest that you start as an agent. And if you don't have any experience, I always suggest you start as an agent anyway, but that's a whole nother topic. So your freight broker surety bond is a guarantee to pay the carriers that do business with you. When I first started back in 2003, the surety bond was only $10,000. Now they bumped it up years later to $75,000 because they wanted to protect the carriers. Because what it does, a surety bond guarantees carriers that they will get paid in the event that you go out of business. So for example, or whether you're going out of business or not, they're guaranteeing that you get paid. So if you do business with a carrier and you book a load for $2,000 and for whatever reason you don't pay them, they can file on your freight broker bond and the surety bond company is going to enforce and make sure that they get paid. Okay. So because you've signed a contract with that surety bond guaranteeing payment. So basically the surety bond company guarantees that carriers get paid. It protects the carriers. And that's the reason why they bumped it from 10,000 to 75,000 because 10,000 just isn't a lot. That could be one load, right? Literally, I've done loads for more than $10,000. So ultimately that's what a surety bond is, but you need it. It's a requirement to become a licensed freight broker. It's one of the few requirements that you have to have. There's no certification. There's no test. You don't have to do any of that, but you do need to file an application with the FMCSA for your freight broker authority. You do need to show proof of a freight broker bond. You do need to show proof of BOC3. You do need to show proof of your UCR. There's some basic things that you need to do. And that's one of them. So I hope that helps. But if you're not ready to get your freight broker surety bond, just start as a freight agent. I've done interviews with students recently that in their second month did over $10,000 as a freight agent in profit in their pocket in month 2. Now, I'm not promising that that's going to happen for you. I'm not guaranteeing that's going to happen for you. I can't make any projections for you. You may not make a dime, okay? But here's what I know. If Lita can do it, and Yogi can do it, and Franklin can do it, and Elio can do it, and Eloy can do it, and Mike Burke can do it, and all these other students that I've worked with are making multi 6 figures or even 7 figures per year now can do it. I'm sure you can do it. Okay. So I hope that helps. Masana asked, can you tell me if it's a good idea to hire a specialist for freight salesperson? If you have the money to hire someone to do sales, and that's part of your plan for growth, I think that makes sense. But I only think it makes sense if you yourself understand how to do freight broker sales, because how are you going to coach them? How are you going to teach them? How are you going to manage them? How are you going to grow your own business if you're relying on the sales of other people to get started? I'm a big believer in the originating broker should understand how to get customers and should be able to get customers on their own before they hire agents or they hire inside salespeople. Okay. I'm a big believer in that. I don't believe that you should build the foundation of your business around somebody else's skills. Now, when you want to scale the business up, yes, eventually you're going to have to hire people in order to do that because you'll be limited. But I would strongly suggest that you don't rely on other people to build your business as a startup. It's going to be heavily focused on you to get those first 3, 5, 10 customers in order to start getting positive cash flow. And then from there, I would strongly suggest you reinvest some of that money into hiring the right people, because talent is a critical component of scaling up your business. So I hope that helps. Here you go. Perfect example. Jim Kolke says, we used your LinkedIn and email process after 3 weeks in business, moved our first load Friday and our second load today. Your process works. I want more of your knowledge. Great stuff. Zoom info, Zoom engage with your process is a winner. Awesome. Okay, cool. Very good. Thank you. I'm so happy that it's worked for you. You're one of many that have engaged with my different sales strategies, whether that be through my Freight Broker Sales Accelerator program, whether that be through my no cold calling for freight broker system, where I use LinkedIn and social selling. Awesome. Congrats. There's a perfect example. If you guys want it, if you guys are curious about learning more about my freight broker sales strategies and more importantly, the entire system that I use and that you can leverage to grow your business, you got to get on the wait list. I mean, I know I'm beating a dead horse here. freightbrokerbootcamp.com/waitlist. You will get notified immediately upon release. You can then get enrolled. And then I'm going to limit the numbers. And again, we're probably going to limit this to 50, maybe 100 people, depending upon my time, because the more people, the more time it takes. And so I hope to see you on the wait list, and I hope to see you get enrolled in the program. So let's see what we got. Do a couple more questions, and then I got to take off. It's getting late. Okay, guys, listen, I'm going to wrap it up for today. I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you did, do me a huge favor before you go. Share the stream. Share the stream. Do me a huge favor. Share it on Facebook. Just click the share button right now. Click the share button and share it inside of one of the other freight broker or freight agent or trucking or logistics groups that you belong to. Share it inside one of those groups, or share it on your page. Share it in your Facebook feed. Do me a favor and do that, whether you share it on Facebook, whether you share it on Pinterest, whether you share it on Twitter. Share the stream. Let other people know. I truly appreciate it. I'm grateful for you guys taking time out of your busy schedule. I hope you guys enjoyed the training. I hope you got on the wait list for the Freight Broker Sales Accelerator. If you are just looking to get started, don't let all this information overwhelm you. I have a startup course for new people in the industry. It's called Freight Broker Bootcamp. You can go there. We'll take you by the hand, walk you through the process, help you get started, right? Help you start getting your first few customers, learn the entire process. You can get that at freightbrokerbootcamp.com. Again, we offer a 60-day, 100% unconditional money-back guarantee if you're not happy for any reason. I've trained over 10,000 students in that program. And personally, I've done over $200 million as a freight broker. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you did, make sure you like, comment, share. Have an awesome day, and I'll see you next Monday.